Right. So kicking off our read-through of the 616, we are starting with issues 1 to 4 of the Fantastic Four, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. These first few issues not only give us origins of Marvel's first family, but also set up some key elements of the Marvel Universe going forward. That being said, how about we go ahead and just jump into Fantastic Four, Issue 1. We start off with an introduction to Marvel's first family, consisting of Reed Richards, Sue Storm, her brother Johnny, and Ben Grimm. After that, we get a "you're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation" type moment, which, as you read, you may find writers can be quite fond of this trope at this era of Marvel.
I feel like we're missing critical exposition here.
So, how did they get their powers, you may ask?
Well, they fired themselves into space in an untested rocket because communism, and are immediately attacked by cosmic rays, causing them to crash land their ship.
After safely escaping the wreckage alive, they one by one discover that they have powers. Sue, invisibility, becomes a orange rock monster. Reed gains the ability to stretch any part of his body, and Johnny gains the ability of turning into fire. They then give themselves their superhero names. Sue becomes the Invisible Girl, Johnny becomes the Human Torch, and Ben becomes the Thing. And Reed becomes Mr. Fantastic, because rub it in, why don't ya? Your friend just became a giant rock monster. And so, Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, are born. Issue 2 of the Fantastic Four introduces us to the Skrulls, a group of shape-shifting aliens, who may not seem all that important at the moment, but will become more important as the story of Marvel progresses in stories such as Secret Invasion. In this issue, we see the Skrulls cause havoc by disabling Earth's military defenses. They do this while using their shape-shifting ability along with alien technology that allows them to simulate the Fantastic Four's powers. This is all in preparation for an even bigger invasion by a Skrull mothership that waits idly just outside the planet's atmosphere. In doing so, these actions cause the army to hunt down and capture the real Fantastic Four. Fortunately, our heroes manage to escape in time in order to hunt down the Skrulls and discover their real plans for an invasion. And so they blast off into space again, this time in an even dodgier ship, which is seemingly made out of a water tower. Upon boarding the mothership, the Fantastic Four pretend to be the four Skrulls sent to Earth disguised as the Fantastic Four. While on board, Reed attempts to convince the Skrulls leader that Earth is a lot more dangerous than the Skrulls expected. He does so by showing the leaders clippings from different comic books. You'll notice during this time, in order to advertise other comic books coming out, it was common practice to show characters reading comics of other characters in world. Reed then convinces the Skrull leader to leave the four behind so that they can erase any evidence of the Skrull's presence on Earth for the safety of the Skrull race. Upon flying home, however, the Fantastic Four end up flying through the same cosmic storm that gave them their powers in issue 1, which causes Ben to temporarily lose his powers, reverting back into a regular human. This is the first time it is suggested that Ben's powers may be temporary, and there may be a possible chance of him living a normal life going forward. It also ties into the greater idea of the Fantastic Four, that for the first time you have comic book heroes that don't wish to be superheroes. Upon arriving home, the team battle and eventually capture the four remaining Skrulls on Earth. Reed then hypnotizes into transforming into cows for the rest of their lives, which is just the beginning of many messed up things Reed Richards has done in his long existence. Actions that are completely unnecessary given the fact that the Skrulls have already surrendered at this point and have openly stated that they will cause no problems as Skrulls and they will be whatever the humans wish them to be. Issue 3 introduces us to most of the iconic elements of the Fantastic Four, such as the Baxter Building, the Flying Fantastic Car, and the team's iconic blue costumes. We also get to see the development in the family dynamic that we've come used to with the Fantastic Four, as Johnny and Ben become increasingly aggravated with one another, as Johnny blames Ben for letting Sue go by herself with this issue's villain, the Miracle Man, a con artist who uses projections and illusions to commit his crimes, although this is entirely Sue's choice. Then, after a bit of infighting, Ben decides to remind everyone of his backstory and how gaining power may have been good for the rest of the team, but not for him.
Father?
Simba, you have forgotten me.
No. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No! Please! Don't leave me! Father! Don't leave me.
Eventually, the team does manage to work together long enough to defeat the Miracle Master, but only just before Johnny decides to quit the team entirely, as the tensions among his fellow teammates have grown too high. Issue 4 of the Fantastic Four reintroduces us to one of the iconic characters of the Golden Age, Namor the Submariner. In this issue, we see that Johnny is still in fact missing from the previous issue, and so the remaining three decide to split up to look for him. While doing so, we do see Ben return to his normal human form, which yet again suggests that his usual rock form may be only temporary. While on the run, Johnny discovers a mysterious homeless man who seems to be suffering from amnesia. And after a quick shave, it is revealed to us, the audience, this mysterious homeless man is in fact the Submariner. Johnny quickly returns the Forgotten King to his home in Atlantis. But upon their arrival, Namor discovers his home has been destroyed by atomic testing, and so the Submariner vows his revenge on humanity. Johnny rushes home to warn the others of what has happened. So ensues an epic battle against the whale monster that is now attacking the city under the command of the Submariner. However, it is during this battle that Sue is captured by the Submariner, who almost instantly falls in love with her.
I like 'em big. I like 'em chunky. I like 'em big.
And so begins one of Marvel's most illustrious love affairs of all time. However, Johnny does eventually manage to defeat the Submariner. But we end this issue with the Submariner claiming, "I'll be back. I'll be back."
I'll be back.
And so brings us to the end of our first 4 issues of the Fantastic Four. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.